All right, so I'm going to start moving most of my content to this channel, as I've talked about before. The main channel is going to have to go through the review process again. I'm almost positive. It's been 1 year, and from what I've read online, the secondary reviews will be done by the end of the year. So while it could be any day that they give me an answer, I'm going to go ahead and say they're not going to give me anything until the deadline day, which will probably be rejection. And then I'll have to continue to clean it up based on whatever the email says, and I can reapply, which is unfortunate because that is the big channel, but you know, it is what it is. I'm grateful that this one is through. But I just don't get it. I don't think my content is that bad compared to some other people's. And I'm not throwing shade at them. I love all of those edgy channels. It's a shame that YouTube is trying to curb all that down. I think it's going to really hurt them in the long run. But whatever. Whatever, man. So I found this fun article. Thought it would be fun to talk about. Study claims men who play video games perpetuate techno-masculinity. TechnoMasculinity. So we got a new one. It's always some kind of new racialist thing here going on the old radical exceptionalist individual side. So what are they talking about here? So there was a study that was put out. You can find it right here. Technomasculinity and its production in video games. It's actually a boring article that's kind of crappy. It's not an article. It's supposedly a study. It's not. The dude interviewed 20 video game developers. The logic for this is total garbage. The guy's just trying to kind of make a name for himself in academia is what he's doing. And it'll likely work because, I mean, academia is all about this stuff right now. If you know anything about what's going on over there, and I'm sure some of you do, especially if you're coming from my main big channel, academia is a joke right now. And I've always wanted to cover, so there was these guys that they submitted a bunch of like crazy articles to like kind of like social sciences and gender studies journals, and they took like literally like stuff that Hitler wrote and changed some stuff around and submitted it, and it got submitted to academic journals. And it just kind of shows the trash fire that academia has become. And of course they're going to go after video games now. Their reasoning, because it's a lot of men that work in video games. I mean, if you look at the breakdown of women that play games, and I'm not saying women don't, they absolutely do play video games. The majority of the ones that do play most, like, you know, AAA games, big stuff like that, are predominantly male. A lot of the casual female crowd plays a lot of like mobile games, and that's a big market, but it's not really the kind of market that gets the like big blockbuster attention. You know what I'm saying? And it just doesn't make sense to me why you're trying to force people that aren't interested in the area. I mean, there are some very talented women that make games, but I mean, I just don't see how this is a problem. And you're going to see what the reasoning is here. A new study published by University of Idaho professor Robin Johnson argues that men who work in video game development, play video games, or who are simply passionate about gaming may in fact be perpetuating techno-masculinity. So, because men play video games and they're passionate about gaming, they're a problem. They're a problem. Johnson writes in the new piece, Techno-Masculinity and its Production in Video Games, that after interviewing 20 video game developers, he discovered that techno-masculinity is a rampant issue in the gaming industry, hurting women, and this acronym in the process. So, let me get this straight. He talked to 20 people and decided that there was a industry-wide problem. What kind of science is this? Now, if you were to talk to a Marvel employee, they would say, well, that's just sciencing. It doesn't work like that. If you're going to make an assumption like this, you would typically need at least, as many people as you can get, but you would probably want, at least a few hundred, before you make any kind of call like that. 20 people? Where do they work? You're not, that's not enough to make this assumption. But of course, you can get something like that published because, it fits the narrative, doesn't it? What they're looking for. In an interview with PJ Media Sunday, Johnson described technomasculinity as an expression of masculinity that is oriented toward the mastery of technology, skilled use of technology, tools, and systems. So someone that likes, learning computers and coding, technology in general, they're toxic now. Just because of who they are. In popular culture, this type of masculinity is often associated with individuals who are highly competent with computers, but typically lacking in social or physical skills. Most people that are in these kind of fields lack in social skills, and I think that goes for both sexes, actually. But, the logic behind this theory that this guy has makes absolutely no sense. It's almost like, he saw an area where a bunch of guys work, and he wanted to attach a label to it and make it toxic. Like, this is how this kind of stuff starts. And he's going to show contradictions here on, here's a hole in his logic right here. In this study, Johnson, this is a joke of a study, by the way. Johnson traces the development of technomasculinity in men from an early age. One man's technomasculinity allegedly started when his father took him to his government job and let him play some computer games. So that's where it starts. I still feel like I have no idea what technomasculinity, I have no idea what it is, even after reading all of this. It's literally just, man play video game, bad. Men not play video game. That's really what it reads off to me as I'm going through this. And then here's the hole in his logic. While fathers are implicated as a catalyst for the men's technomasculinity, not all are. Although fathers got most of the 20 people, by the way, I want to point that out because that's a joke, into technology and computers at an early age. The father-son relationship is not a requirement because, that's right, sometimes mom give their sons a Game Boy. This is stupid, man. Why is this a problem? Please let me know. I really want to know why this is a problem. Oh, look at this coming out of the University of Sydney. The big shocker. Big shock. If a bunch of geeky men decide to create video games for a living or work at video game store, what's the problem? Please tell me. Well, in line with the subordination of women thesis popularized by University of Sydney's R.W. Cornell, or whatever, Johnson argues that technomasculinity hurts women. It's not seen how, though. Not seen how. Gender is socially organized in the West as a hierarchicalized, binary, differentiating men and women along supposedly natural or biological masculine and feminine traits. Huh? This makes no sense. And I really think that things like this techno thing that this guy's making up, get definitions like this to be confusing, and I think it's on purpose. I think it's done so that when you look at this statement, you don't try to question it because you don't understand it, and you think, am I stupid because I don't know what's going on here? You're not stupid. The theory is stupid. That's the problem. So the guy's saying basically that things that men like to do are bad, I guess. I don't quite know what he's doing here. The association between technology, masculinity, and what we think of as skilled work is still fundamentally done by gender division of labor, and thus the oppression of ladies and the gender pay gap, he added. It makes absolutely no sense. I would like to look at like college enrollment and stuff. Like, that would be where the real numbers are. I don't understand why the fact that, maybe they just don't want to go and learn like that in a big number. How come no one talks about when you go into like sociology classes, like everyone in there is a certain gender? That's not a big deal. I don't see the problem here. If someone wants to go into the area, they can. No one's gatekeeping them out. I see them all the time. I was at Best Buy today and I saw 4 of them in the Geek Squad counter, so I don't quite get it. And it's just a joke. Now, is the majority of the people that work in these areas men? Yeah, but, what's the problem? I mean, like I said, no one complains about if a woman is in, sociology or psychology or something. So it's just stupid. And then they throw together this wordy, kind of dumb statement. What does technology have to do with the gender division of labor and the gender pay gap? That's just stupid. You could literally just take this out and insert whatever you want in there and have the same statement. Nothing in this has to do with video games or computers. Nothing. This is just the same statement they take to other things, copy and pasted. Dumb. Going forward, it's unclear how this can be fixed. Anyway, that's all I've got. Share the video. Let's get the word out on this new crazy term. Check out the links in the description. You find a link to my Stream Me, where we can do some crazy uncensored streams. Also find a link to my Patreon. And, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this foolish thing. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. See ya.